Hello and welcome to the next tutorial. In this tutorial we'll be going over mapping your data in Formable. So we're again continuing from the previous tutorial with the New Hampshire data and the Forest Service or National Forest boundaries. Let's jump right in. Formable is open here still, and we have New Hampshire with our Forest Service polygon boundaries. So in the Map tab, the first thing you're going to see is a map of your data. So first thing to note, this will only work if you have plot locations in your data set. If you don't have plot locations, you cannot use the mapping functionality, unfortunately. But if you do, the first thing you'll see is under map, the styling. So the first thing we can do is we can change the base map. By default, it just shows the plot locations with no color. We can do things, so any column in our data that can describe the plot, the entire plot, you can use here to color your map. So we have things like trees per acre. You can see all the plots that have trees per acre. There's our little legend in the corner. And let's do unit code. So this is FIA specific. County code. You can see here we have all the different counties here colored. Any variable you want, you can use to color your data set, which is pretty cool. And so we can change the palette too. So if we don't like the default ggplot palette, we can pick from a predefined list of palettes. Pick whatever you like, whatever suits your fancy. Spectral's cool, I like that one. In terms of colorblind palettes, you'll have to find one that meets certain criteria, but I'm assuming anything like Viridis palette will meet that if you have colorblind issues. Yeah, any palette you want, you can select from here. If for some reason, so this we'll get back into fixing palette and rescaling palette in a little bit. We also have point size. If you want to change the size of your points, you can make the points really big, so really small. You can hide the points, make them massive. It's just cool. You can change the transparency, so if your points are really big and they overlap, you can change the opacity, and then it will change how transparent they are, which is pretty cool. I like my points to be opaque, like 20, I think it's easiest to see. We have this option called drop NA. So what this does is that within your base map, if you have plots that don't have a variable in them, so let's say TPA, for example, what you'll notice is there's some plots that aren't forested that don't actually have this value. So when this is selected by default, so it will just show you the plots that are available. If you uncheck this, it'll show you here in NA, which is gray, the plots that don't meet that criteria. So plots that fall on water, for example, or plots that fall on non-forested land will show up there for certain criteria. But this just visually hides them. This doesn't actually remove them from the database, it just visually hides them on the map, so you can see there they are. They're removed. And so you can do with this as you will. You can also change the base map. So if you want a dark mode, you can choose a dark map. We have Esri satellite view, so you can kind of zoom in here and see the different base maps, which is cool. We have OpenStreetMap, which is nice for urban layers. The map. Apparently OpenStreetMap is having issues right now. I'm not sure why. Topographic map. This is cool. See relief and stuff. That's what we have here. You can also hide your polygon layer. So you can unselect and deselect this at will. It changes back to simple light. I would recommend if you have large amounts of polygons that you hide this on the map if you don't need to see it. For small amounts, it doesn't make a difference, but for large polygons, yeah, you might want to hide this. It'll make the map smoother. You can hide your points. And we'll get into polygon selections here in a second. Okay. So this is this overview. In filtering, we have a filtering option in the map. So this is not like the filtering in the filter tab. This will only visually hide plots from view. It will not remove them from your data set. So if you're doing things like plot aggregation and area aggregation, it's not going to remove this as the number of plots per unit area. So if you filter here, don't worry, it's not going to somehow explode your per area estimates. It's just going to visually hide stuff from the map. So for example, I can pull out unit code 2 on the map. I can click this, click apply filtering, and it will show you those plots on the map. It can help make it easier to see areas of interest that you're interested in. So I can go ahead and clear this. Let's do another example. Let's say we make the base map year, for example. Let's go here to year. You can see the different inventory years here based on this validation ID. Come here to filtering. I can pull out year 2022, apply this to the 2022 measured plots in New Hampshire. Go ahead and clear that. One special column that is not in your data, but that we add afterwards, is this in geometry column. So if you've applied geometry to your data, you get the special column. It's a binary 0 or 1. So for example, if I click 1, click apply, it'll show me all of the points that fall within polygons, which is pretty cool. So it lets you kind of quickly filter out those plots. So I can be like, okay, my polygons, I don't need to see this layer anymore. Now you have all the plots that fall within the National Forest boundary. Okay, let's go back to the fix and rescale palette real quick. So if I clear my map filters again, I go to something like TPA. You can see the scale here is quite drastic, like 0 to around 10,000. Rescale palette, what it will do is will rescale your data based on a normal distribution. So you can see the percentage of your data that falls within each of those different ranks. And so this makes it a little bit easier to see hot spots, cold spots. Let's clear the polygon layer here. Compared to this, which really just highlights the extreme values. This kind of brings it up a little bit more. So you can see there's only a couple of places that have really high TPA. Most fall within the 700 to 2,000 trees per acre. Less of the data is less than 300. So this area might be interested in. These plots have low TPA. And if you click on a point, it'll show you the plot key. So if I want to pull out just that plot key, I can do that as well. Then rescale palette. So how this works is, let me go ahead and clear my filtering. If I say I have this colored by county code, like this. So by default, the palette builds based upon the levels in your data. So if I have county code, let's say whatever this is, county code 2, let's do county code 18. See how county code 18 here is yellow? I go ahead and filter. I change county code to this value, apply it. Notice how it changes color. That's because the scale is based on the levels of your data. So if you don't fix it, it'll just display whatever you currently have filtered. If you want this to be linked to the total amount of values within that particular filter, you can come here and press rescale palette, and you can see that, not rescale palette, fix palette, excuse me, this will now be yellow like it originally was because it's matching this value to the entire range in your data. So if you want your data to stay consistent throughout filtering, you can click fix palette. If you don't care and you just want it to show different values on the fly and automatically adjust the colors, you can uncheck this. So that's what this does. Okay, so next what we have are polygon selections. So within your map, you can make different selections for area or for selecting plots. Because going through and finding each plot key and pulling it out by hand would be a pain. So let's say we're interested in northern New Hampshire. Over here on the left-hand side, we have plus, minus for zooming in and out. We have this little pentagon that lets you draw a polygon. You can click on this, and you can just make selections by clicking on your map, and you can come back to the first point. This will create a polygon for you. And if I go to the polygon tab, you can see we have a label and a color automatically applied. I can label this whatever I want, called north. And it will change the label. I can change the color. Let's make this a nice red color. I don't know why it's a little glitchy looking, but it will change the color. Don't worry. You also have a rectangular selection, so you can draw a rectangle. You start where you want. You click, you drag, tells you the size you can release, and it will automatically label this as well. So I can call this mid, whatever you want to call it. Let's make the color a blue color. It's kind of glitchy. I don't know why it's cycling through all the colors, but if you don't want to change the color, it will just automatically apply a random color that's distinct. So if you want to delete it, you can delete the polygon, and you can make another selection, and it will keep track of the unique polygons as you go along. Okay, so you can make selections, and so within each of these selections, what it's going to do is it's going to pull out all these plot keys that you have here that you can then use for your plotting in your area. So let's say I want to save these selections for future use. I can come here, I can export the file, it'll export as a GeoJSON file. I can save this here as a polygon. You can call this whatever you want. It'll default the current date and polygon name. I can save this here. If I go ahead and I delete my polygons and I want them back, I can come here and I can browse. I can import the polygon layer again. And so this selection on the map is different than the geometry column that you import. They do the same thing, but this gives you a little bit more user control. If you don't have a shapefile, you can kind of make your own through manual selection. Just kind of define a boundary or a region of interest, which is pretty neat. And so that's what you can do on the map tab. Really, the map tab is more of a, think of it as a way to visualize your filters and a way to make selections, but then you can apply in the plot and the area tabs, which is what we will go into in the next section, is our plotting and our area. What can we actually do from these plots that we've selected? Alrighty, we'll pick up in the next tutorial, which is plotting, and I'll see you there.